Hello, my name is Emily and I have OCD. Um, I wanted to tell you a little bit what it's like in the life of someone with OCD. Part of it is definitely going to be actions where you see um, having to check doors, having to turn off stoves and ovens many times. Sometimes having to do a routine a certain way, otherwise it's not gonna be completed correctly or the way that you want to. But a lot of my OCD is actually thoughts, so I wanted to tell you a little bit what that is like. Um, a lot of times these thoughts are just like reoccurring and I have no control. Sometimes they're triggered by stress, but sometimes they just come randomly, just all time thoughts. Sometimes they're images of things. Sometimes they're disturbing things that I don't like, and a lot of times they cause me a lot of anxiety. So I have um, things that cause me anxiety, and then I also have things that like soothe. Like for example, if I have one of the really intrusive, um, awful thoughts, I'll follow it with like one of my like safe phrases that I like to say over and over, which for me, one that I use often is I want to go home. That's one that I say a lot, and I'll say it a bunch of times until the anxiety from the initial thought or image that comes to my head like kind of self-soothes. Also though, sometimes like the thoughts that come into my head are to the point where I can't control what comes out of my mouth. So for example, I have a friend whose dog died and she was clearly upset, and I obviously should not be talking about my dog, but because her dog dying caused me anxiety, it caused me to obsessively think about it and my dog and dogs in general. And then I would just, um, I would just say it. It would just come out, just like, oh, my dog this, and like clearly not a situation where I was supposed to socially talk about my dog, but I could not stop myself from the reoccurring thoughts, and then it eventually came out that way. Another thing I do is I obsessively like role play things where like situations I can't let them go, so I'll just continue to like replay the situation over and over and over. Or on the flip side of that, I'll replay how I want a situation to go. So I'll constantly think about the situation. Um, One thing I did want to point out too, though, is a lot of times, even though the intrusive thoughts aren't necessarily something that you'll see, a lot of times you will see me make faces. Whenever I have a thought, I just kind of, like make a face because it bothers me so much. The thoughts. I also do self soothe as well, the thoughts a lot of times. With the anxiety that comes with them, I often am rubbing things and like kind of touching. I also do that with like blankets as well. Yeah, but a lot of times the thoughts are repetitive, and it's like the same 4 or 5 thoughts that constantly cycle through my day, and there is no like stopping them, and they'll take over my day. Sometimes they get to the point where I can't even do things anymore. Like if I need to go out and go do something, and if I have a certain thought that's just constantly going through my head, I no longer can even leave my house. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if these people are there? What if this is that? And it's led to a lot of depression as well.